Hello, and welcome to Automat Live Coding. This is a programming live stream. We are going to do a lot of this, a lot of programming. And what are we programming? We are programming Automat. Automat is a game that plays other games, or a game automation utility. It's a thing that you can run, and it sits in the system tray. It's something that runs in the background, and within Automat you can build tiny machines that will play other games, or not really play other games. You will essentially do anything on your desktop. Automat has some built-in tools. I'll show you in a second. It's just oh yeah, it's probably just rerunning a lot of build because I was changing some files. So it's slow to build, but for a reason, and the reason is actually good news. It's that Automat is built. Again, the GitHub release works, and you can download the most recent release, the release that we are going to. I basically published it a couple of hours ago, so it's as fresh as can be. It has everything now. So this is Automat. We can record macros. This is a macro. See this funny mouse motion that I made? It's here. And even the mouse click that I did at the end, see? This is the mouse click. I don't need this mouse click. I will drop it into this black hole. I can play this timeline again, and yeah, it's going to do this. So this is the most basic way of automating games. You can basically record a repeatable sequence of actions, and you can connect it to a hotkey like tab. So when I press tab, it will do this thing. Nice. So this is how you do basic automation. Recently, we've been working on wobbliness, on warping of objects. Like, this is the proper technical term, I guess. You get rid of this timeline, because this it's actually a nice example. So see, we have this hotkey here. When I move this hotkey around, you will see that it actually snaps to the grid. I cannot just drop it anywhere. It always snaps. But at the point where I'm dragging it, it moves together with the mouse. So it has... it's not rigid, it's kind of flexible. The part that I'm dragging with the mouse is being dragged with the mouse. Everything else aligns to the grid. So this is one place where this warping is being used. So when I'm dragging stuff, it's being used to snap things into the grid. When I'm dragging something near the edge, and I cannot do this, like it's not allowed, I cannot drag something beyond the edge. It's also used to show this effect. So when I'm near the edge, the snap is kind of stronger. It shows that, hey, this object is actually going to be snapped here. By the way, I will have to fix this. I will have to fix this so that it doesn't snap immediately. It should snap elastically. Then there is this wobbliness that happens when I move something very fast. This wobbliness is actually... there is something wrong here. I will have to investigate this. But this is also used to hide latency. The idea is that when we have a texture for some object, rendering of this texture takes time, and then at the very end, when we want to present this texture on screen, your mouse pointer probably has moved, so there would be lag on screen. So you're actually using this warp mechanism to literally warp old textures to more up-to-date positions to minimize mouse latency, so that things on screen are more responsive. This effect is actually... it's not costing us time, it's making the animation more responsive. Like it's one of those weird situations where a special effect actually reduces latency. So this is warping. Another use case for warping is clones. So in Automat you can have multiple boards. Those are 2 boards. And each of them can contain clones of the same objects. But there is a limitation. A single board can only have 1 copy, 1 clone of an object. So this clone, you can see, it kind of snaps back to this position. I cannot really pull it out. But if I go far enough, I kind of can. And now I have this. Oops. Move this back here. Now I have this object on 2 boards. And this is the same thing, this is the same object. So when I activate one, the other also activates. This should update. Strange. Those are actually bugs. The stuff that you can see here right now. Yeah, how it's fixed. So the power status seems to be properly synced, other things not so much. But this is a small glitch. Actually, today we are going to do some debugging. But not really debugging. I know how to fix all of the bugs, it's just we need to fix them, and it's going to need some work. So we're going to put in the work today and fix the bugs. So the first bug is that when I clone something, I can pull it very far, quite far. Things are very stretchy here. But there is a problem. When this object goes out of screen, you can see this goes stale. It stops updating. Which is wrong. It should not be like that. What happened? I can pick like inside the warped texture here. You can see individual pixels even. Oh, and now it works again. Okay, we have a couple of bugs to fix. Let me show you the full list. So, the major piece of work that we are doing is called Great Warp Unification. This is this whole project, this whole system within Automat that does this warping. It's called Unified Warp. I think we should call this, we should probably add a proper symbol to this work. Give me a sec. Let's call this, let's draw this like that. Drawn in red, of course. Beautiful. Okay, so we already implemented the basic feature, so it works. We fixed some of the bugs. Those are the bugs that we fixed during the previous stream. And today I want to start with this one. Because this one is the trickiest, the one that I just showed you, where when we come too far from the original, the clone stops animating. It freezes. You can still kind of drop it here, but here, not so much. Excuse me. So, yeah. power button doesn't know where it wants. Power connector doesn't know where it wants to be. It travels. It kind of behaves correctly, so it's not entirely wrong. I think there is a way to fix this power connector, by the way. Should be possible. I have too many boards. Way too many boards now. Okay, I need to stop Automat. It's impossible to delete the boards right now. The only way to delete the boards is to just reset everything. Okay. So let's get going. The source of this issue here is the renderer, specifically the fragment of pack frame, which searches the step 1 or step 2. Will be step 2. Yes. So this step 2 thing is basically a search through the tree of widgets, which only goes into the widgets which are on screen. And I think we should go not only into the widgets which are on screen, but also into the widgets which are anchored to any pointer. Basically, very simple fix, really. Blah, blah, blah. Those drawbacks. See? There it is, the visible boolean, which we set here. And we just need to also set it true if object is held in the mouse, essentially. We need those lines. Those lines are important. I do this. It doesn't look like. This looks very hacky. This looks like the type of code that. I write hacky code, but those two lines are hacky in a very toxic way. This is the worst type of hackiness. This is the hackiness that breaks the boundaries between systems which have been erected for a reason. So this is a big red flag here. Do not fully get why it's here. There is a massive comment here. Like, the comment sounds like I wrote it, but the type of code here, not so much. Anyway, we have access to widgets. We can go over texture anchors. our pointer is a mortal PR, and mortal PR should have the equality operator. Strange. Strange. Let's add an overload, because I do not like something like that. I'm not sure what this operator is doing here. Yeah, it's two lines. I just want to... I want to be confident what's happening here. This is the line that we are invoking. Actually, yeah, boolean actually better here. So if a texture anchor is attached to any pointer, we say, okay, this object is probably visible, we better render it, regardless of its draw bounds. And I don't think that's it. I think we also need to define the region of the object that is visible. Is this macro recorder active? What's wrong? What? Was it like that the whole time? Oh. Somehow that must have been because of the eye animation. Okay, I disabled that code, so it wasn't now. I think when an object is held by the anchor, Okay. So as you can see, it now animates, say. But it's not selecting the right area of the object to draw. And the resolution is also kind of frozen. But at least it moves, so it's a step forward. Actually, I shouldn't be checking anchor pointer. So I have a better solution. Good bounce, blah blah blah. We are interested in this pack frame draw bounce. Worry is an important variable. But the idea is that we are not going to hack this, change the visibility directly. We are going to make the effective bounce larger to account for the anchor, current anchor position. We care about warp by and pointer. Actually, we only warp by. Okay, this is a tricky change. So let's use a parrot for this. Okay, we need to provide more context. Okay. Come on. I hate that they quietly switch between different model versions. So annoying. Okay, let's look at the other bugs we have in the queue. Yes, there is warp KSL, which is just nonsense. What is it talking about? It's saying that something has moved? Nothing moved. Working while the parrot does stuff is kind of dangerous, but let's do this, whatever. Okay. This split is just a normalized offset. It's fine. So this just gives the direction where the RGB will split. Max displacement. So units. I'm thinking about units. The units of this it's unitless. It's a direction vector. This one, it seems to be in meters. Max displacement is in meters. I have no idea what this does. E is length by length. It goes from 0 to 1. It's like a property. I have no idea what is the purpose of this. Let's see how it looks now, without those two smooth steps.
Meister Chica says.
Hello?
Hey. Some test subject. I see RGB split happening.
I have made one important decision for my gamma engine.
What's that? You say game engine, this is chess game engine.
No custom windowing system for now.
Yeah, you gotta spend your innovation tokens somewhere. Maybe windowing system is not the best one. Most people just go for ImGUI.
Nah, I went with SDL.
It's not exclusive, like, it's like SDL is the input and like OS integration. And ImGUI is, yeah, it's GUI. It's internal stuff.
And it's maintained by Valve.
Really?
Technically, it's second-hand maintained by Valve.
I think it was made by some... I even remember listening to a podcast by the author of the library. Okay, you can see that my formula is significantly simpler than the stuff that Parrot came up with. I need to add some edge to this effect, so it starts at some point. Its RGB split max is kind of small. It's 0.5 millimeter. A millimeter at max displacement. Part should be split. Make it 10 times large. 5 millimeter. It's actually not maximum because multiplied by 2 here.
Wait. OpenAI actually made their models not apply fixes on review? Or is it just open code thinky?
TTS-ed says,
Are you making the game in 3D?
Hey. I assume you're asking Captain Chica. Oh.
Meister Chica says,
I'm making it in 4D.
TTS-ed says,
No, I was referring to the 3D effect for the owl that is reminiscent of old school 3D glasses and effects from 2000s.
That's interesting. That's interesting. That would be a very cheap way to add kind of depth.
Meister Chica says,
No, you are forgetting that time is also dimension.
TTS-ed says,
0.
What I'm doing.
Meister Chica says,
One reason why people can't imagine four-dimensional objects is we can't do time travel.
TTS-ed says.
CP Chica, we time travel to the future 247. We just travel 1 second per 1 second dash date.
Meister Chica says.
Alright. One second for you is not 1 second for person on ish.
TTS-ed says.
'Cause time is relative.
Figure out what do I even want to do here?
Meister Chica says.
Congratulations, Einstein dot Paul.
I think shifting everything sounds like it should work. Do I even want the effect to show?
TTS-ed says.
Says the person who thinks we don't travel in time.
I think split should be stronger. The origin.
Meister Chica says.
Said by the person who ignored formal definition of time travel.
TTS-ed says.
You didn't define it.
We got a response. Yes, this is what I was worried. That field is used a lot.
Meister Chica says. URL.
Yes, you are correct. I didn't define it, but I cited my source.
Some of those sentences are written in a way which is very hard to decipher. Residual guts. Who speaks like that?
Slop machine.
This is the... Let me try this decipher.
TTS-ed says.
That's good practice to give sources. Every object with mass moves through time at this baseline rate within its own frame of reference. Google, which still means that you still travel in time. How fast you are doing it depends on speed and mass.
Oh, I know what was the issue. What was the issue? And also here. Oh, what have I done? Not what should happen? Oh, there is probably division by 0 here. Whatever, I'm going to change this anyway. This line is actually good. Only when the max displacement is larger than something, we want to start displacing stuff. Check softmax. Sorry, not softmax. It's called smooth step. Too much TensorFlow. Smooth step takes 3. Yeah, this takes 3 edges. So I'm going for, once the displacement crosses this threshold, I want to start separating the part of the parrot which is furthest away from the pointer. It's doable, but the math is going to be... It's on the edge of what I can kind of do in my head. It's going to be hard. This tells us whether the effect is not full. It only depends on max displacement. We are not using the actual anywhere. Need some unit here. Let's do this.
That's why I think having control over gravity would be OP. You could create a black hole, or at least a very massive object that bends space-time so you could travel in time. For you, it would be 10 mins, but for outside people, it would be hundreds of years. Not to mention military application.
Hang on, all the green stays in place. I'm pulling it. This smaller, but first. Yeah, I want this section that I'm pulling to not be warped. I think this should be simple. Just multiply by 1 minus 3. Okay, there is 0 RGB separation, so the eye tracker starts working. 0 RGB separation here. RGB separation mostly affects the origin of the object. Then I can tweak some parameters to make it smoother. For example, start should be more like 4 or maybe 5. Maybe 1. This we don't need. All of this can go away.
This year seems like it will have some cool end-of-summer games. Mortal Shell 2, Phantom Blade 0, ...
Let me check them. Oh, that's Shell 2. This looks like Dark Souls.
I played Mortal Shell 2 demo, and it was crazy good. It made first game look like amateur demo.
Looks very much like Dark Souls.
Yes, but it has guns. And a guitar.
Yes, that might convince me. Phantom Blade 0. Gameplay trailer. Okay. I see. This is just the type of games that you play. It's like, I do enjoy rhythm games, but I do enjoy them when they are more explicit about their nature. And Souls, they kind of obfuscate this. They kind of hide the fact that it's mostly about rhythm.
Meister Chica says,
I small quite little game.
Diux Nexus says,
They look good. I beat Elden Ring, Dark Souls 3, played Night Rain, Dark Souls, Salt and Sanctuary. I like Souls style.
Yeah. I actually have a question to you. So, you played a lot of Souls games. Does your skills kind of extrapolate in a sense that if you are kind of good at this category of games, you encounter a new boss in like a new game, can you beat the boss on the first try? Or do you still have to kind of learn its patterns and, you know, all of the cues that it makes before you can actually beat it?
Meister Chica says,
And for a change, it's not programming hacking inspired, nor its FTL style game. Bobble Shop Simulator.
Bubble Shop Simulator. Sounds interesting. It's bubble. The shop with bubble figures. Nice. I sense there is a potential for collaboration with, you know, all the toy manufacturers.
Diox Nexus says,
Generally, the bosses follow same soul style pattern which you get used to, and the skills get transferred from game to game. So if you beat Dark Souls 3, you are more likely to beat other games like that, 'cause these games teach you to be patient. Keep trying to overcome it and what to expect.
Hmm. What I can agree about is that those games, they give incredible sense of satisfaction once you perfectly learn the patterns of a given type of enemy, because something that was scary initially becomes a pushover. Really, you can do whatever with it. You can fight a giant boss, but it cannot do anything to you because you just know the perfect time to make a dodge and not get any damage. So you can, once you master a boss, like some type of enemy, even casual enemies are dangerous in those games, but once you master them, then it gives you this sense of power over them. They cannot touch you, essentially.
Yes, but there are a few bosses that you beat, and you are glad you don't have to beat them again.
Mm. What's the point of this?
If you play Sekiro, you actually become the boss. Like the old saying goes, I am not here trapped with you, you are here trapped with me.
Be right back. Just got a drill. Look at this monster. It's like 6 centimeters diameter. It's going to destroy some wood. Okay. This is the new RGB split effect.
The worlds are more interesting. Bosses are just a thing that comes with it.
That's an interesting perspective. I like open world games, especially when they are systems based. Souls games really do not have this. Systems based meaning that there are many interacting systems in the world, and the world is kind of live in some sense. Okay, it's not looking bad. How is the parrot doing?
Elden Ring has this, where there are fellows pulling war wagon, or some bosses that just crash down or just roam about, that you can fight and then run away from.
Yeah, but they are, I remember, but they are just kind of just respawning enemies, really. Sometimes they respawn moving. I remember the caravan, and they have a chest with some good weapon. Hammer or something like that. Okay.
It's not as formulaic as this is, area. You go through it. At the end, there is boss. You move to another area.
Yeah. The types of games that I enjoy are more like, I think RPGs are this kind of game. Skyrim is a perfect example. It's an ancient game, kind of, but it has this mode of play where the game starts, there is a campaign, and then you can just completely ignore it, go your own way, and have your own adventure. And it's still nice and interesting. And it's still mostly content made by Bethesda, the quest designed by quest designers. So you're not really creating your own story, but you almost are. Because you are ignoring the main campaign, you can decide that you want to be a thief or a mage and this is the region where you will settle. And yeah, it's a nice fantasy world where you can kind of almost role play, and it works. You can be a pacifist. You can just, stay in the city and work on alchemy.
I like our deity too, 'cause you can just RP.
Yeah. It's not fully RP if your playstyle is kind of forced upon you. Meaning that, you have to be this kind of cowboy with a revolver. It doesn't give you the freedom that RPG games, and the freedom can be simple. It can be just about, beating the game in a different, it's a spectrum, it's not like all RPG games are the same. Souls games are also kind of like RPG because they allow you to pick a different, let's say, combat style. I think it counts. Different combat style counts as RPG, because this is really what role is. It's like, what role are you in the team? Are you like a healer, tank, DPS? This kind of stuff.
You can be passive or you can be murdering thief. Same like in Kingdom Come.
Oh yeah, it's true. Now I remember. RDR actually lets you be a good guy or bad guy. Except some moments where it forces you to be bad. Link accounts for extra. Okay.
In Kingdom Come you drink some schnapps, and then you just lie our way out of anything.
Pretty much, yeah. This is strange. Look at the bounce. Look at the bounce is a method from Skia. And this is the correct way to write this function. Nice.
Hedesac for T says,
Hello there. I have an important question about coding that I didn't find a definite answer to, if I may.
Sure, go ahead. I think it's easy to find answers, like, especially with LLMs. Like LLMs, they can repeat the internet knowledge to you pretty well. Anchor displacement at the root. I told it to keep it at the lowest possible scope. I don't like this kind of repetition. This is a surprisingly clean explanation. I haven't seen a stochastic parrot write this cleanly in a long, long time. Wow. Yay. Okay, the functional test passed. We can pull stuff around. That was actually the biggest issue, probably, with the warp system.
TTS-ed Nexus says,
You should play Cult of the Lamb. You get to build a base, and it has Twitch integration, means you can put Chica in the game and lock him up in a cell.
I've seen this game. There is something. I did play it a little bit. There is something in some games where they kind of feel too artificial, fake, kind of like a corporation made them. They're like optimized to, you know, to cater to specific audience. It doesn't really feel this game authentic. Like you play those kind of lamps, like the style, the world, everything there, it feels so fake. I guess fake is the right word. It's like a corporation tries to optimize something, like Marvel movies, you know. It's like even some people who enjoy those like superhero comics, they are
It was NDA optimization.
Gunhasses says,
Very weird, Mr. Merrick. A vertical stream.
yeah. So, for instance, like one thing that's a good indicator of this kind of fake authenticity is political correctness. If the game is super nice, super friendly, if it's like optimized for any age can play this, and Cult of the Lamp is kind of like that. It doesn't, like, even the violence in this game, it's kind of very cute violence. It's not like, for instance, Dungeon Keeper. Dungeon Keeper has much more kind of like I would say Dungeon Keeper has a slightly better humor.
Tedisakvates.
So I have been thinking to do a MRPG, but first I need to start somewhere. I have no idea what language would be best for that, and what language to write the first game in. Sorry it took so long, got a call.
Dax Nexus says,
So 90 of Nintendo games.
MMO games are, and games in general, like if you want to do game development, the biggest risk is that you will start writing a game and you will not finish it. So a language that makes it the easiest for you to finish something and publish something. And not only language, also the way you write a game, it's also important. It's important to publish stuff very soon, or like maybe not make the final game initially, just make some whatever you can do in a couple of days, and you can kind of show somewhere on Twitch, on itch.io, or on some website, or anywhere.
Prototype, right?
Yeah.
Vertical slice.
Yeah, that's one way to put this, but really it's about not getting exhausted, because at some point you may decide, okay, I wrote this in a bad way, I need to rewrite everything. So if you can scope the initial game so low that you can actually finish it, then you can publish many small games, and then, you know, slowly build bigger and bigger ones.
Pace yourself, that'll me.
Yeah. Languages that work well are just popular languages. Popular languages, but also languages that are easy to distribute.
GDScript, dial.
GDScript or Godot. Yeah, that works. You can make Godot games and you can even distribute them as websites. So GDScript would work, JavaScript would work, TypeScript, which is like a more kind of sciencey, computer sciencey cousin of JavaScript. And languages, like I know you may think about choosing the right language a lot, but languages, they are almost identical. Like once you learn, Python or JavaScript, you basically just need to learn some changes in syntax of different languages and maybe how they work under the hood. But like learning the first language, after you get it, all of the others are almost the same, with some small exceptions that nobody uses.
It's not the language. It's the execution that matters.
And that's also true. Why are we storing this in this node anchor displacements route? If it's not used anywhere. Okay, I will remove this. Hope I'm not going to break anything. Oh no, I broke everything.
TTS-ed says,
Yes, that is what I want to do. I did try Godot with tutorial which went good, but there was not much coding to do. More like setting up scenes and rules with pre-written code. So I went to try and see how will I do with C. C and I got lost.
Nexus says,
I am sure you can use C in Godot.
Yeah. Both C and C++ are kind of... Okay, now I see why it's on that property. They're like kind of power tools. They do require some training to use properly.
Matthew like realistic games made in Godot.
There are a couple games. I actually think Cult of the Lamb was made in Godot, if I remember correctly.
Road to Vostok gotta drive.
I'm thinking about, coding. So the only thing that's really different between GDScript and C and C++ is that C and C++, they are compiled to native code. They do not work inside any VM. So you get to play with row pointers and row memory, which is fun. And it's a key to many cool exploits, like fun exploits, like tricks that you can do in the computer. So I think C and C++ are fun if you like to abuse
Godot from Unity.
C and C++ are nice if you want to abuse what your CPU can do. It's really amazing. You can squeeze a lot of performance out of it. Because it's kind of Wild West language. You can do whatever you want. It has all of the features of all languages, and you pick the ones that you want to use. And there are some rules that you can just ignore most of the time, and it will work anyway. But because it's such a monstrosity of a language, it takes time to learn. Base language, C and C++, it's the same. They are both based around Algol, like an older language, which has those ifs and conditions and for and while loops. But they add their own kind of extensions to it, like the pointers. And C++ and C, they have kind of different set of extensions that they add. C++ is kind of more object-oriented. It has this object-oriented, a couple different. It has so many systems built in. It's impossible to know all of them. You just use it, and eventually you learn to use it. It's kind of like, like learning to speak. You do not learn to speak by learning the whole dictionary. You just start using it to, do stuff. And eventually you learn new words. It's a good way to learn programming languages as well. You only check the techniques that you need immediately to achieve your goal, and you go back to them, and eventually you will watch some presentation or read about them, and they will kind of click in your head. But learning from book, like not book, or some tutorials, which are very kind of separated from what you are doing and your actual problems, it's going to hard to build a personal relation to all those rules.
TTS-ed says,
I see. I did try the novice training on the internet to rewrite Hello World, and it said there are errors but didn't show what, and I am not sure how to wrap my mind around it.
Oh yes, yes. Terrible error messages are a tradition almost in the world of programming. They're often it's quite hard to produce high quality error messages. It used to be far worse in the past. Like most compile errors were just compiler crashing, like or just stopping, blank screen, nothing, no message, no error message. It just didn't finish. So it used to be worse. It's getting some error messages now is already a blessing. But C and C++ are notorious for bad error messages. I'm not sure if there is a language which is like very good at it. Rust is pretty decent, but Rust is... I don't think Rust is a good language to start. The best approach for learning a programming language is to actually follow a tutorial, but not any tutorial. Find like the highest quality tutorial, like ideally a book or something like that, where somebody has put a lot of effort into writing it. It's not some copy-pasted, some very unfinished tutorial, something that's actually end-to-end. Like it should cover as much of the language as possible. It should have high quality, supporting materials, pictures, diagrams. Pictures are a very good signal. Like if something has good pictures, it's probably a good high quality resource. And
says,
The easiest way to speak with computer is to learn its native tongue. Learn machine code.
Meister Chica says,
To use with custom front-end has pretty good error messages.
That's actually interesting. So maybe TypeScript will be a decent start, because TypeScript is almost JavaScript. It's not almost JavaScript, it is JavaScript. Plus some type annotations. But the good way to learn is to go through tutorial, and after the smallest section, like the first section of the tutorial, to spend like half an hour or an hour playing, and this has to be repeated after every section of the tutorial, spend half an hour or an hour playing with these techniques that were just shown, like checking how far they can be pushed. Like, for example, if they show you for loops, or see what would happen if you create like 200 nested for loops, something like that.
Dice Nexus says,
BW, are you aware that on the bottom it says your full name?
On the bottom it says my full name. My YouTube channel name is my full name. Hopefully it doesn't have my second name.
Next to 2 months ago.
Ah. Yeah. No worries, no worries. I'm not hiding my real name.
You a Google employee.
Yep.
Meister Chica says.
He can't hide his name even if he tried nowadays.
Alex Nexus says.
So that tracks.
Tedesakve says.
Thank you. I shall do that and see what I can learn.
Dex Nexus says.
You can't hide from Google.
Yeah, we did have Google concerns about, you know, staying anonymous, but after leaving Google, it's not so important. Especially in US. In US, there are some crazy people. They have access to weapons. Like, anybody can buy a gun, which is kind of scary. Okay. One more issue and we are done, and the warp unification is kind of complete. The final issue
Didn't us started to debate that now to access internet you need ID? Or, if they don't like a website, they can take down the domain.
URL.
IDK if I showed you this.
Gnet. I remember a name like that. Oh, it's that actions have consequences. Yes, it's terrible. You can do bad stuff on the internet and the consequences reach them in real world.
Meister Chica says.
Oh no, not the Linus for the poor.
Dex Nexus says.
He does look like Linus.
Kind of, yeah. Freenet, peer-to-peer network. Yeah, the only problem I have with projects like that is that I don't think this is the main problem with the internet. I think the main problem is spam and like bots pretending to be humans. And in a decentralized system, the centralized system needs to come up with some solution how to deal with basically fake identities, like artificial identities, not real people posting messages, pretending to be real people, because this is how disinformation is created and spread on the internet. Some kind of system. I don't know how it could work. I mean, I have some ideas, but those peer-to-peer or anonymous networks, they rarely care about this. But let's see, maybe we'll find an answer here.
URL.
Sorry, wrong link.
TTS-ed says.
Main problem is that non-gamers and nerds started using it.
Meister Chica says. URL. TTS-ed says.
CP Chaka, where did I see this before? X dash.
Ah, good. I remember this stuff. I think they are using Automat or something like that.
Dead internet reality.
Yeah. Web of Trust is one solution to this. And it could work. It could work. It just needs to be implemented properly.
Or A by I.
Web of Trust is not going to be perfect because there are always going to be black sheep, like people who will accidentally annotate a bot as a trusted person. So the system needs to have some shades of gray in reputation, but a Web of Trust is definitely a good foundation for all of this. Oh, it's not using Automat, it's using @proto. Oh yeah, I was there. At this conference. That was a conference in Berlin. Looks interesting. I will keep this around. It sounds like it could be a good GitHub replacement. And if this is a GitHub replacement without Git, then I'm sold. Okay, so let's continue with this freenet. My bet is that there is no mention of the problem of online abuse and bots in this whole presentation, but I hope to be proven wrong. Let's scrap through it.
Because fuck Microslob.
Meister Chica says.
Diffshub.com.
Yeah, one common pitfall that engineers fall is assuming that cryptography can be used to solve this problem. And I've seen many attempts, none of them worked. There's always the problem of what happens when cryptography fails, and then you cannot even detect that something bad is happening. Cryptography only works on paper. You phish somebody and, you know, all the cryptography can be thrown out of the window because somebody gave the key out or something like that. Okay, we are talking about some peer-to-peer properties, which are probably pretty nice. We have different apps for different types of work. Group chat with no backend. This is nice. Oh, rotation, weekly and on every ban. Okay. this is how, okay, chat rooms work. Okay. Because ban, if it has mention of banning somebody, then it already has the concept of abuse, and that it has to, the system thinks about this, like this chat application, they have considered the issue of banning people. Now, the problem is, what happens when somebody creates like a fresh fake account and then joins again and this kind of stuff. Let's continue. Publishing hosting provider. Discovery with the gatekeeper. It's nice. Like on the internet. Okay. Different services. We have mail, social feed, something. Okay, I do not see any mention of anti-abuse or, abusive content. Abusive content, abusive actors. Maybe questions, we'll talk about this. Okay, it did mention some crypto stuff at the end, and crypto meaning Bitcoin. Bitcoin kind of plays with this anti-abuse because computational capabilities are something that's expensive to spoof. I mean, everybody has a smartphone or a PC, so everybody can generate some proof of effort. And that proof of effort is, it's not so expensive, but it's one thing that can stop mass abuse, like limit the size of mass abuse. It's not a good limit, but it's some kind of limit. Yeah, Freenet, I have low hopes about Freenet.
Diox Nexus says,
As long as it's not microslop.
Okay, this alpha issue is very easy to fix, but this issue where the prototype kind of jumps ahead, this is actually tricky. I don't know where it comes from. Yeah. Yeah, this is messy. Okay. I was trying to figure out what is the mechanism here. Okay, I can see snapping to grid.
Did you see LG installing its crap via Windows Update when you plug in monitor? Wild stuff.
Another way to install some bloatware. At least something is applied twice. It's jumping and then coming back.
The worst part is, it was for McAfee.
The code which does the prototype animation, it does something very weird, something that I never do. It seems like it's doing some kind of timeline-based animation, where the prototype fades out completely and then appears again. Very, very weird. I never use this type of animation.
IDK, what's worse? Having ransomware installed or McAfee?
Check more about this tangle. Natively supports stack using widgets, completely self-hostable. Nots? What the hell is a knot? Is it the name for their server? I think it's just a server. It's just a made-up word for a server. To make it feel more special. And Spindle is probably another type of server. Let me join this tangled thing because I want to check this out.
What are your thoughts on canonical snaps?
I'm not a fan, but for a very stupid reason. It's that they have a lot of mount points. Whenever you run a snap, it installs like 20 mount points. For me, it's just too much. I like to have my mount clean. I want to see my hardware in mount, not some applications like 5 mount points per application. And that's crazy.
I don't like how you press on anything but snap, and it still installs snap. It's like going to a Ferrari dealership. Agreeing to buy Ferrari, you sign contract and everything, and you drive out with Mazda.
Meister Chica says.
That's why I drive Duster.
Deus Nexus says.
Dacia?
Meister Chica says.
Does anyone else produce Duster?
I just created a Tangled
says.
account.
One would think that vacuum manufacturers make dusters.
Meister Chica says.
No, they make hoovers.
Deus Nexus says.
They make Henrys. At least in UK. Speaking UK, we're gonna have partial solar eclipse today.
Meister Chica says,
I live in Catalonia. I don't acknowledge the king.
I wonder what it's with the map looking.
Deus Nexus says,
It's not this one.
Because you can't control.
If that was the solar eclipse that we're going to see, then you're going to have the perfect view. Yeah, it's going to go perfectly through Catalonia. Oh, the website is overloaded. I understand why. Map. You have map? No. Yes. So it's over Iceland right now. It's very interesting. The parrot learned to record videos. So it's now it has a VM, right? And in this VM, it can reproduce some of the issues. But it cannot see in real time, so it's recording videos and then analyzing those videos. Yeah, I would say that's impressive. Like, how do you reproduce a problem without being able to see the desktop?
Who do you think will win keys behind elections? Count Binface or Farad?
I'm rooting for Beanface, obviously, but you know, internet is one place and hacker life is another. It's for Clapton, I think. That's a district of London, right?
Nobody wants to vote for joke candidates, so they vote Binface.
Clacton. Oh, it's a separate town. Yeah.
We gotta make count win. You're gonna build at least one affordable house. He seems very sharp when it comes to politics.
Yeah, I've seen some interviews with him. Looks like he could be a legit politician. Probably more legit than the alternative.
Say what you want, but the guy really seems to know his stuff. I sure hope he wins. That would be funniest political moment of this century. I would vote for him if I could. Make my vote count, Wall.
I'm trying to fix two bugs at the same time and maybe reduce the amount of code rather than increasing it. Bug number one is that when I have some objects like that, I drag the object around, you can see the connector is kind of moving ahead. It's not how it should work, really. Like now it's fine, but when I drag by the bottom, it's kind of moving faster than the dragged object. Actually, the fact that prototype, the child of connection widget, is kind of strange. Okay, I'll do short break. Be right back.